So today we are continuing with the IELTS preparatory training, and yesterday we actually started the listening training. We were able to work on the important keys. That's the 3 T's, right? We looked at the trick, the tips, and techniques. For the trick, can you explain what you understood? What do you think it's all about? You're going to teach us. What do you think it's all about? You can't remember? Okay. The trick, we talked about putting in brackets a part of your answer that you're not so sure about, right? It could be a figure with a superscript. It could be just a number. It could be time. And you need to indicate whether it's AM or PM in brackets. It could be money, and you want to consider putting the dollar symbol or the pounds or the euro symbol in brackets. It could also be word, and you want to consider if the word should be in singular or plural. Or you heard 2 words and you want to put one of them in bracket. That's what you're to do, the bracket trick. It helps you to stay safe. Now, we also learned about the tips. Tips, things you should hold on to when you are, things you should try to practice, or things you should avoid when you are taking your listening test. Part of the tips, we looked at that you should read your instructions before starting any section, right? Because the instruction will tell you or will help you to understand if your answer should come as 1 word or as 2 words or 3 words. So it's usually spelled out in the instruction. It's also through instruction you get to know if your answer should be A or B or C. Then you also need to read the questions before the audio begins to play, right? Because normally, during your listening test, the audio will never read the questions with the exact words written on your question paper, never. Audio will always find a way of paraphrasing those questions using their synonyms or phrases that still mean the same thing as what is written on the question paper. So you need to read the questions to have a prior idea of what is contained in the question, so you would be able to understand when the audio is treating any of the questions. You also need to write your answers when the audio is playing. We talked about that yesterday. You do not need to wait for the audio to end before you begin to write your answers, else you will definitely forget a lot of what the answers are. Then you are also allowed to write 2 potential answers. 2 potential answers beside the question you are treating. Maybe you just heard a word and you feel this could be an answer. Write it. And immediately you're done writing that, you now hear another word which is also a potential answer to the same question. Write the 2 on the question paper. Then ensure that you look at the one that is more suitable for that question and transfer to your answer sheet. Then for those of us who usually write our answers on the question paper, because we feel it's usually faster, because we feel it helps us to catch up with the audio. So you're writing directly on your question paper. Another tip says, ensure to transfer all your answers to your answer paper accurately. Because accurately is emphasizing on the fact that when you're rushing to transfer within the limited time you're given at the end of the audio, you may likely mix or skip a number, likely. And once that happens, there is a likelihood that every other thing you're writing under that section will be incorrect. So it's advising you, that tip says, ensure or endeavor to transfer all your answers to your answer sheet accurately. Now, another tip says, remember that IELTS is also testing your spelling skills. Therefore, ensure that you write every word or you spell every word in full. Do not write an abbreviated form. Do not write shorthands. So you need to write the complete spelling. And correct spellings also matter a lot. You can see what happens at museum. So you need to ensure you spell correctly. And IELTS is so sensitive that if you miss a letter, the answer is incorrect. If you add a letter that is not supposed to be, the answer is incorrect. So they just want you to be very apt and correct in whatever thing you're writing. Then another tip says, if your understanding of punctuation is not very cool, if your exposure about punctuation is not very broad, you are strongly advised to write all your answers in block letters. And if you want to apply that block letter template, it is highly advised that you take it from question 1 to question 40. Right? So don't write question 1 all block letters. Then question 2 you mix. Question 3 you don't even write at all. Question 4 you try to go back. No. You should try to stick to block letter template from questions 1 to 40. It places you safe. You do not have any issue or reason to be marked down because perhaps you didn't realize that the word that's supposed to be that you wrote as your answer perhaps is a proper noun. And of course, proper nouns are meant to be written beginning with capital letter. For instance, your name. You don't begin writing your name with small m. You need to write your name beginning with capital M because your name is a proper noun. You don't write Canada. You don't write names of countries, names of the days of the week, months of the year. You don't write any of those words beginning with small letters. No, they are proper nouns. So you must write them beginning with capital letters. So if you don't understand that such words are proper noun, it is safer for you to write every word in bracket. Pardon me, in block letter. Okay. Now we also talked about the techniques. The technique we treated on Monday yesterday was paraphrase. We understood how paraphrasing moves from words to figures, from figures to words, from words or figures to fractions or percentages, from words or figures to general terminologies. So I'm sure all of that added to your vocabularies. So you will now understood how the audio, we were able to understand how the audio could paraphrase what is written into its own expression, but retaining the exact information. So today let's look at the different sections of the listening test. You would agree with me that the listening test has 4 sections, right? Now, section 1, we are looking at dialogue. Dialogue. What are dialogues? Do you know what dialogues are? Conversations between 2 people or 2 parties, right? Some dictionaries will say conversation between 2 or more persons. So if it is between 2 persons, 2 people, just 2. If it is between 2 parties, each party will have more than 1 person, right? Or may have more than 1 person. So that automatically connotes more persons as definitions. Some definitions may have that. So in section 1, about 80% of the dialogues you experience during the listening test usually comes via telephone calls. during dialogues in section 1. 80% of dialogues in section 1 are via telephone calls. Someone would phone in. Someone would phone in to either report a situation or lodge a complaint or make enquiries. So during such conversations, these are potential answers. So let's look at how they work. On your question paper, if name is supposed to be a part of your answers, you would notice that the first name may be written and then dash, right? For instance, yesterday we had a practice and it was Becky dash. Can you remember? Jamison? Yeah? Becky Jamison. Now, on the question paper, you would have Becky dash, and then number 1 is here. This number 1 means this is the answer to question 1. So when you hear Becky dash, during the conversation, the front desk officer would want to know the full name of the caller. So the caller would give his or her full name. Okay, my name is Becky Jamison. So Jamison is not a very popular English word, right? It may not even be an English word per se. So it's going to be spelt. So during the spelling, you are required or expected to write. Once the spelling is going on, write. If you miss a letter, your answer is wrong. If you write a letter that is different from what was pronounced, your answer is wrong. So you need to be very attentive and write as quickly as the caller is giving the name. But if the name is a popular English name, of course, it's not going to be spelt. It will be expected that you should know that name. If I say my name is George Bush, do I need to spell any of those names? If I say my name is George Bush, am I supposed to spell any of that to you? George Bush. George. You know how to spell George? How do we spell George? Okay. Okay. You know how to spell John? That's Joan. That's the female John. John for male. Joan for female. Like you have Gabriel and Gabriela, right? Gabriel, Gabriela, Benedict, Benedicta, male, female, bearing about the same name, but with a slight difference in spelling. So if I say my name is John Bush, you should know how to spell John. You should know how to spell Bush. So nobody is going to spell it for you. Audio will never spell it. They expect you to spell it because it's a simple and popular name. So if you don't know it, it's left to you. Okay, so but if the name is not an English name or the name is not a popular name, it's going to be spelled. So during the spelling, please listen attentively and write as quickly as the name is being spelled. Then let's look at telephone. When telephone or if telephone is supposed to be a part of your answers, be careful to check the question paper. Check the question paper to note or see or check or find out if the first 4 letters are written on the question paper, because sometimes they'll be written there. Then you see dash. So if you have the first 4 or first 5 digits of the phone number, when the person is giving his or her phone number, please be sure that the person is not calling or repeating these numbers. If the person is repeating these numbers, don't write it. You have to continue, you have to write or begin to write from after 2. But during exams, tension, exam conditions may not permit you to realize that the person is calling the same number as on the question paper. You are just tensed. I want to write very quickly. And you are writing the same thing. And once you write it, it's going to make your answer incorrect. So check. Okay, let me check. My cell phone number is 1402. Is there. Don't write it. 1402 00578. That's when you begin to write. Do you understand this? Then the address, if the address is required to be a part of your answers, on the question paper, part of the address should be written, then there'll be a little portion that you're going to fill in. So if that portion is supposed to be the street name or the street number or code number or area code or whatever it is, it will be called out. You're right. Then date of birth. We talked about date of birth yesterday, where if the person says I was born on maybe August the 6th or November the 22nd, right? Or 22nd of November, do you need to write 22nd of November? Do you need to write 22nd of November? If the person says, I was born on the 22nd of November, do you need to write it? If a person says, okay, I would like to take your information, please tell me what's your date of birth, please. Okay, I was born on 22nd of November. Good. So you're writing, you're not going to write of, right? So this will be eliminated. So these are the two numbers you have to write. Is that correct? Because in most cases, the question will say you should write no more than one word and or a number, right? So this is one word, this is a number. So when you write this, remember to apply the bracket trick, right? Great. Then let's look at nationality. Nationality has to do with your place of your country of birth, right? So you need to really know different countries and the spellings of their nationalities. A person from let me see how it a person, I'll start from very, very popular ones so that it will make you happy, right? A person from Canada is called what? Canadian. Good. A person from China?
Chinese.
Chinese. Good. A person from Korea? Korean. A person from Ethiopia? A person from Nigeria?
Nigeria.
A person from Niger?
Niger.
Is Do you know where Niger is? You've never heard of the country, Niger? All right. It's close to Nigeria because Nigeria, Niger, right? Okay. A person from Niger is a Nigerian, while a person from Nigeria is a Nigerian. See the difference? Niger goes with E. Nigeria has A. Do you understand the difference? A person from the US, American. A person from Peru, a person from Peru, Peruvian. A person from Colombia, Colombian. A person from Argentina, Argentine. A person from Brazil, Brazilian. A person from Netherlands, Dutch. A person from Scotland, Scottish. A person from Morocco, Moroccan. A person from Mexico, Mexican. A person from Jericho, all right. There's no country as Jericho, just a city. Some people will say, since Morocco is Moroccan, Mexico, Mexican, Jericho, Jerican, right? But there's no such thing as Jericho. Okay, so you really need to know nationalities. Even if you don't know their pronunciation, know about their spellings. Because during the audio, it will be pronounced. So if you know the spelling, it's easier for you to write. Now, email address may be required as a part of your answers. If it is, the email address will be called out the same way telephone numbers are called out. You know, your email address has sometimes some email address will just be letters. Some will have letters and numbers. Some will have letters, numbers, and special signs, right? So all of those things will be called out. So you need to write correctly. Now, interest. What is the person interested in? What does the person want? So the person might want to take part in an excursion that's been planned, or the person want to be a tour guide, or the person want to know about accommodation, or the person want to reserve some flight tickets, or the person wants to purchase something online. So whatever the person is interested in, or the person wants to take up a voluntary job, temporary job, right? So if the person, for instance, wants to take up a voluntary job, or the person want to be a tour guide, they want to find out about the person's previous portfolio. If the person has done something that is related to that, okay? Now, how long will that last? Duration. How long? It will be talked about. If duration is coming in, you need to be attentive. So you know, excuse me, sometimes duration may be paraphrased. It could be a month. It could be 4 weeks. Is there any difference? Good. So what form should your answer come? Should it come in the form of month or weeks? Go to your question paper and check. Question will indicate whether it should come in weeks or months. Then cost. When it has to do with cost, that's money. If money is involved, please be careful not to hastily write an amount that you've just heard, because there is tendencies or possibilities that the amount may be countered and a different amount be given. So if you are very quick to write and the figure happens to be countered and the new amount is given, try to erase that old figure and write the current one, right? Now let's go to section 2. For section 2, we are looking at monologue. So it could be a monologue or it can also be a dialogue. What's a monologue? To who? Good. There has to be some persons listening, right? So monologue is the practice of one person giving a talk to an audience, or making a presentation, or delivering a speech to an audience, right? So during monologues, I need you to understand that section 2 is usually faster than section 1. Section 2 is usually faster than section 1. In section 1, we are talking about monologues. In monologue, what happens? And pardon me, in section 1, we are looking at dialogue. In dialogues, what happens? One person talks, this person waits and listens. Once this person is done talking, he waits and this person begins to talk. And each person is talking at their own pace, right? At his or her own pace, right? But in section 2, which is monologue, it's just one person talking. So we do not know if the person would want to wait for you to process what he or she has said. The person is talking at his or her own pace. Do you understand? If the person is a fast talker, the person is going to talk fast, normal. So you need to be very attentive. Be sure that what the person is saying, you are at the same pace as the person. Now let's look at some of the things that may be your potential answers during monologues. Number 1 is noun. What are nouns? Nouns are naming words, right? Words that indicate name of a person, name of an animal, name of a place, or name of a thing. So it will always tell you the name of the issue that's being talked about. It could be a virus, it could be a culture, it could be a global warming situation, it could be whatever thing. It's going to give you the name. Now, where was that, or where is that being founded, or where was it founded, or where is it being discovered? Right? So you need to pay attention to know the name of the place. Now, duration, when, what time, what year, or what time. If it's supposed to be a part of your answer, please pay attention to know. Sometimes it could be in century, maybe 21st century, 19th century, or in the year 1942, or whatever it is, or time, maybe at about 9:14 in the morning, right? So if it is 9:14 in the morning, 9:14 in the morning, how many words? 3. And maybe the instruction requires 1 word and a number, or 2 words and a maximum. What will you write? 9:14 in the morning, what will you write? 9:14. 9:14 morning. 9:14 a.m. A.m. means morning, right? You are bothered, right? Now here, features. What are some of the features of that particular situation being talked about? What are some of the characteristics of that thing? It's going to be talked about. So if it's supposed to be a part of your answer, please listen and write. Now, financial implication. What is the financial implication of maybe combating or resolving the situation? Or what's the financial implication of purchasing whatever thing that's being manufactured? It's going to be talked about in the audio. Now, what's the quantity? How many people were affected? Or how many people will benefit from it? Quantity. Or how much pieces of it is being manufactured? So you need to listen to quantity and write. Now, what led to it? What's the cause of that particular thing? There must be some background information or history about what led to it. And what effect has it made? So you need to write if it is supposed to be a part of your answer. Now let's look at maps. Maps. When you are treating map in listening test, first, maps are usually being treated very fast. And in most cases, if you are not as fast as the audio is going, you may not know or get enough answers. If you have 5 locations on the map to answer, you may end up getting just about 2 out of 5. That's quite poor. So what do you need to do? On every map, there is usually this. Do you know that? What do you call that? Geographical location. Some people call it compass. Some people call it navigator. Some people call it the cardinal points. Right? On every map, there are cardinal points on every map. It may not be written boldly for you on the map. No. But you should know that on every map, there is top. Every map has a top, and the top will always be the north. Every map has a bottom or the lower region, and that will be the south. Every map have got the right side or corner, that's the east, and the left-hand side will always be the west, right? All right, let's look at this. If this is your map on your question paper, if this is a map on your question, I'm using your position, not my position, your position, okay? If this is the map and it's on your desk, on your question paper, where is the north? Here? Good. Where is the south? Here? Okay. So this corner, right? South. Where is the east? Over here, right? Where is the west? Great. Now, audio will always tell you where to begin from. The audio will tell you, for those of you who like to go to the cafe after a day's hustle, I advise you to go in through the main entrance on the north. Where will you come in from? All right, as you go into the main entrance on the north, walk southward. What does that mean? Be coming down, right? Good. Southward means you're coming down. It doesn't mean until you come here, no. Anything that is bringing you down is southward. Do you understand this? So as you go southward, just before you get to the center of the park, maybe at this point, you are to take your right turn. Where is your right turn? This way. You're going the wrong direction. Where did you come in through? When you come in through the north, where are you facing? Where are you faced? When you come in through the main entrance of the north, which is this way, your right will become where? Good. Good. So always be flexible. Don't stay at where you are and you are imagining you are still. No. If audio says coming through the main entrance on the north, you, from where you are, imagine you have turned. You're no longer facing this way. No, you're now facing this way because you are coming in here. You're not coming in from there. So when you come in here, your position has changed. So you're facing this way. If it says go to your right, this is your right. If it says go to your left, this is your left. But from where you are, your right is here, right? Your left is here. Fine. So you need to always move around according to the directions of the audio. If you stay where you are to take your right turn, you're going elsewhere. So you choose the wrong answer. So you need to always tilt yourself, be flexible. If you don't want to tilt yourself, if it says coming through the main entrance on the north, on your own, on your desk, turn your paper. You know that this is your north. So your position is perfect. So as you're coming in, right maintains that way. from your position, right? But if you want to walk from the position of the map, that means coming through the main entrance on the north, you should assume that you have turned. Please, do you understand? So you need to be quite flexible and smart to follow the directions of the audio. And it's still the same thing that happens when you're treating plans. Plans on listening test on your question paper will indicate different offices, different rooms or locations in a particular facility. So your audio will always tell you how to go in, where to turn, where it's facing, and how to locate it. So always follow this same direction, right? Now let's look at MCQs. MCQs means what? Multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions. What does this mean? Okay. Multiple choice questions often come during your listening test. This is where you have to choose from A, B, C, D, and all that. There are multiple choice questions. So in some cases, you may be required to choose either three letters from here or any two letters. If instruction says choose any two correct letters, it means your answer shouldn't be alphabetically. It should not be in the correct order. If it says any two correct letters, it could be D and B. Do you understand this? It could be C and A. It could be E and C. It could also be B and A or A and D, anyhow. But it doesn't compel you to follow the order. But if instruction says choose two letters from the list of options numbered A to E, choose two letters. The two letters must be alphabetical. But if it says choose any, it is anyone. Do you understand the difference? Now, how do you get your answers when you're treating MCQs? Audio will always talk about all the options. If you are listening, you will hear all those options. The audio will see all of them. So sometimes you get confused. You wouldn't know which is the correct answer. But the correct answer will always be emphasized in the question. Question will tell you which are the two compulsory requirements for the job application. Two compulsory requirements. All the options are requirements, but there are only two that are compulsory. Please, do you understand the difference? You may see passports here, consent letter, CV, maybe recommendation letter, and credentials. Now, for you to resume the job, of course, we need to know who you are and get your full detail, and that is usually displayed on your passport. Although it's not compulsory, you can just not necessarily do with that. So this is out of it, right? You may also want to get, or you may also consider bringing a consent letter. Okay, would need to be sure that you are qualified and eligible to work. But this is usually for people or applicants who are below 18 years, and in your case, you are above that. Is it compulsory? Good. And then you are to come with a hard copy of your job application. Is this compulsory? Fine. Then you can also want to bring your recommendation letter, but that should come after your interview and you are sure of getting the job. Is it compulsory? Then we need to see your qualifications, so you are advised to come with the credentials. Compulsory? Fine. Audio will talk about all of them. but you need to pay attention. All right? Yeah. You need to pay attention. Good. Because you hear one, you write. You hear, you write. You need to pay attention. Check the instruction. If instruction wants you to get only 3 compulsory ones, listen. You hear the compulsory ones. Okay? All right, let's go to section 3. Section 3, we are looking at group discussion. Group discussion. In group discussion, it is usually between 3 or more students or lecturers or professors, right? Talking about some academic issues. Now, these are some of the potential answers. 1, you may need to get the names of discussants, names of the people discussing. But it may not be an answer at that point, no. But at some point, it will be an answer. So you need to know who and who are in the discussion team. So you might hear section 3, you would hear a group discussion between 3 students, Mary, Jane, and Tony, talking about their project. So you hear, hi, Jane. Hello, Mary. How have you been? Well, I'm very well. Hi, John. How are you? Well, I'm very well. Nice to see all of you here. Today, let's talk about our project. Issue of discussion. You have known the names. So issue, project. Duration. How long will it take them to carry out their project? They will talk about it. Right? Now, who would be their target audience? Maybe they need to go and do some survey or carry out some questionnaires. They need to meet certain people, maybe age bracket, because of their experience. So they are looking at people between 40 to 50 years. Right? That's their target audience. Where will they go to meet this age bracket of individuals? They will talk about the location. Maybe the ShopRite or the mall or church or mosque or anywhere. Then special features. What is it about the people they met, or what is it about the things they saw or they found? What are the special features about those things? They will talk about the features, so you get to know the ones that are the special features. Of course, there may be several features, but there are special ones that are very unique to those things, right? Then alternatives. Are there anything that they feel should be substituted? Is there any alternative they need to provide? They will talk about it. Now, individual view. Individual view, by knowing the names of the discussants, you'll be able to know what one of them feels. Right? Then unanimous view means collective, all of them. So they will talk about what they have collectively agreed. And in most cases, it ends by dropping solution. Right? So you really need to pay keen attention to get all of these information. Then section 4. Section 4 is usually a very long and fast section. It usually runs from 31 to 40. So during your section 4, please, you need to reserve enough energy. You need to reserve enough interest. Else, you're going to get bored, you're going to get tired out, and you lose marks. And then, in some cases, audio will run from 31 to 40 non-stop. So it's a long listening span you need to show. Now, if that would be the case, audio would tell you, first you have some time to read questions 31 to 40. So if it tells you read 31 to 40, it's not possible that you would be able to read 31 to 40. It's not possible. because audio will give you about 30 seconds. So within 30 seconds, you cannot complete the 10 questions. So you should try to read from 36 to 40 first. Go and read 36 to 40. So that as you are reading 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, audio will start. When the audio begins, rush and go to 31 and begin to manage with the audio. Audio will give you some long gists before it will begin to hit answers. So the reason for the long gist is for you to quickly scan through the questions 31 to 35. It's deliberate. So you need to scan through and be prepared. All right? Now, if you do not follow this advice and you want to read from 31 to 40, once the audio gives you that 30 seconds, you may be able to read only 31 to 35. And once you are reading the 35th question, audio will begin. And when audio begins, you go back to 31. That means you don't know what you have in 36 to 40. So when it gets to this point, you might get tired out because you are lost. All right? So these are ways to find your answers during listening test. And in most cases, when you're treating 31 to 40, always read the first two words before the space that you are to provide answer. First two words and the last two words. Because audio will talk about these guys before it gives you the answer. In most cases, especially 31 to 40. Always, once you have read the question, always wait around the last two words before the answer and the 2 words after the answer. Do you understand? A little bit. When you have your question paper, like you have this is 31 to 40, right? So you are advised to read from where? From 36 to 40, right? So 36 to 40, this is the heading, tidal energy, right? So for you to, once you have read this, once you hear tidal energy, wait for tides are more than waves. Are more than waves. Do you understand? So are more, 2 words. Than waves, 2 words. So the audio will always talk about these two before it gives you your answer. So it will help you to know when the answers are said. Is it clear now? So that's another way to manage 31 to 40. Always check the 2 or 3 words before where you have to provide your answer and the 2 or 1 word after where the answer comes. All right? So please, for listening tests, you need to engage massively in lots of practices. You need to do a lot of practices. That's the only way out. If you begin to practice, you will see your improvements naturally. Yesterday was 19 or 21. Yesterday's practice, listening test, same, 23, 23 too. All right. So keep practicing, you will improve. Keep practicing, you will improve. Okay? Remember, you are not an English speaker, right? Ethiopia does not speak English. You have your native language and your national language, right? Good. So you are scoring 23 because you are practicing. So keep practicing and you improve. Do you understand? You have the practice materials we've installed on your system. Practice with all of that. If you need more to practice, go to our YouTube channel. You still find some listening tests to practice, right? So that's about listening tests. With this, you are now ready to begin your practice. every day. Ensure you are hitting about 2, 3, or 4 listening test practice every day. Every day, right? So it will help you to keep improving. Please, do you have any question? All right. Thank you so much for today.